Does anybody know Vince Redhouse, Native American recording artist here in town? Vince, he's Navajo, and he lives here in Tucson, and he was a trained saxophonist. And he wanted to be the next Stan Getz, only he was Native American. He decided he couldn't play the saxophone, even though he was gifted at it, because it's not cool to be Native American being a musician. But if you're Native American and play Native American flute, it's cool. So he picked up the flute, laid on the floor for 8 hours, and he played one note. And he's a trained musician, really good. And so he tried to figure out how many things he could do with this flute with one note. That's how hard he would practice. Now, with a Native American flute, he can get 18 notes out of it. Of course, he's playing all 6 holes diatonic, but he can get 18 different notes, and he can play just about any song. He loves playing classical music on the native flute. So Vince Redhouse. In the days, myself and 2 of the other people that were here started the Tucson Native American Flute Circle. And we'd have 51 members. At any one meeting, we'd have 20 or 30. Tom was in it. But were you with us, Tom, when we went to Vince's house? Vince has a recording studio in his house, and we all went over there, about 20 of us. And we didn't know what we were going to do. Usually at a flute circle, you know, everybody goes up and plays, sit down, the next person, you know, sit down. It's like a recital. When we go to Vince's, think it's going to be the same thing. And Vince is at this electric piano and this recording studio. Okay, we'll do something a little different. He says, I'm going to play some music, some background music. Let's go around the room. And everybody play, and then I'll nod at the next person, and then you stop and you start playing and all that. So all of a sudden, I'm having to play along with somebody, right? I can't just go up there and say, I'm playing from the heart, right? I gotta match with this recording artist, you know? And I choked. God, what am I gonna do, you know? And there's some pretty good players that we had, much better than me in our flute circle. You know, Rick Maynard, people have CDs, there's 4 or 5 of them already had CDs out. And so, you know, it's going around the room, you know, and you see the, and it's not getting any better. The tension's getting worse, you know. And I'm sitting there, you know, and finally, you know, he nods at me. So I get up, and I can't remember what I did, but I did something like this. I went. Because I just froze. I didn't know what to do next. I paused. Around the whole room. I want to go home. I felt terrible. So he goes around and he critiques everybody. And it was very positive, you know. Positive, but a few people had to do something different and all that. Then he gets to me and he goes, you did something fantastic, you know. And I'm like this, man. I'm melting. It's like all of a sudden, how about the Chicago Bears, you know? And he goes, did you notice how he played a ghost note? And everybody's, what? Ghost note. A ghost note. And we're like, what's he talking about? And he goes, yeah, well, Keith Biddy says he's playing, and when he got done with that little short melody, he stopped. And that's a ghost note, is that stop. Because what he said is that most flute players play like this. From the heart, right? It's because they're nervous. And so they're playing because it camouflages everything. The ghost note is that pause. And he said the importance of that is when Keith played that melody, before I went on to something new, it gave you time to digest my music, to internalize it. And then, oh, now I see what Keith's trying to tell me. And then I go into something else, and I play a little bit. Ghost note, and start with something else. It gives people time to digest it. So my advice to flute makers is that when you're playing for somebody, it's one breath. Make it a short one. It's 8 seconds. Play it, and it's going to feel like an eternity, but count to 4. 1, 4. Start up. And take those little pauses in. All of a sudden, you're going to see people just all of a sudden go right. They can hear you. They can understand what you're saying. It's the words you're saying.